Turn my ringer off.
Yeah, let me do the same.
Hi, Deon.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. And you?
Long time no see. Good. I'm good.
No, I know.
Making
It's
these
been a
babies over
while.
here, you know.
Huh?
I said I'm over here making these babies, you know.
How many you have now? I know you had the twins.
Oh, girl, I got 4 boys now. Where you been?
I have one and I think he's four.
Yeah,
Four
I
in
guess that's
one.
what I'm
So
supposed to
you're
do.
good. Good luck. Four boys. God.
Hello,
A
everyone.
handful.
Hello.
How
Hello.
is everybody doing? Welcome to our show today. We are so excited about the group that we have here. We're waiting for one more addition, which is Melanie Walker out of Jamaica. She'll be on soon, I'm sure. But I have to tell you guys, you're about to hear some of the most prolific, amazing, phenomenal women in track and field, recent and in history. I'm going to start off with the elder of the group, which is Deon McCarthy,
I'm old.
better known as Deon Hemmings. Deon Hemmings, for all the phenomenal athletes that have ever come out of all the Caribbean islands, she's the first female to win an Olympic gold medal in any event. She won the women's 400 hurdles in one of the most contested women's races in the 1996 Olympic Games, because at the time she was running against two people who had broken the American record and was on track to break the world record. And she won the Olympic Games. And then that was against two Americans. So I could not be remiss in bringing in one of U.S. history's most decorated 400 hurdlers. And she's been a nightmare to people from the time she was in high school all the way through. Lashinda Demas, who went to South Carolina, and she and Melanie Walker had one of the most historical battles in the women's 400 hurdles for years. So you're going to get a Jamaican perspective and a U.S. perspective on that rivalry at the highest of level under scrutiny from both countries. So I'm excited about that. Now, our last guest, until Melanie gets on here, is probably, and I'm not exaggerating this, is probably the most underrated superstar in the US in women's track and field right now. Everybody always overlooks her in conversations.
Yeah.
But she steadily makes her moves, and every move has been to elevate her game. She said, if y'all won't pay me any attention, I'm going to demand that you recognize who I am. Shamier Little has one of the fastest times in the world, if not the fastest, one of the fastest times in the world in the 400 meters, and she's a 400-meter hurdle. She's serving notice that y'all better start including me in these conversations. So how can we not include Miss Shamier Little in this conversation about greatness?
Yeah.
So I'm excited, everybody. And of course, you know, we have our resident expert, Dr. Tracy Shaw, and I'm Coach Bev, Coach Kearney, whatever you want to call me. You can just say Coach, I don't care. But I'm so excited to start this telecast. And I'm going to start it with a question for our panelists. What is it like getting on the line at either the Olympic trials or the Olympic Games in an event where you're running some of the best in the world, and in an event where there are hurdles around 400 meters that you have to fight against yourself not to make mistakes. You've got to stay within yourself to run your race. And then you've got that phenomenal amount of competition. What is that like, and what is your mindset? So
answer. I always remember getting like very nervous about the races especially when we were all lined up, and it was like not necessarily me being scared or me worried about like something going wrong. It's like, we're gonna run something fast today, and it's just like, how fast is this gonna be? Like this, we're not about to be playing around. So I just know that's like my biggest thing going into the race, is like something fast is going to happen, and I just have to be on my P's and Q's.
So what's it like, Shamier, knowing that for you right now, you've got two people that have run under the world record?
Yeah.
Not including the sleepers that have come up in the trials. What's that like mentally when you're training?
Training is kind of like not necessarily getting so much caught up on what they're doing, just knowing that, I have the potential to be there. Like everything is lining up for me, and I'm kind of just like, training is just like, I want to be the best. I want to showcase how I'm supposed to be. I've had my shortcomings in the past few years. I've made teams, I've not made teams. And it's like, I know that I can be running those times. I could be well inside the record, if not set a record of my own. So
you're training with the mindset that if it go under, I'm going under.
Yes. I'm willing. I'm ready to add into the pot of chipping away at this world record.
Okay. Now, Lashinda, you are one of the most recent competitors that lined up in that phase. And then you had the sleeper in Melanie Walker out of Jamaica, and it just turned into an all-out brawl every time y'all lined up and raced. What was your mindset? One, because the Olympic trials in the US are like a mini Olympics, but secondly, lining up round after round in the Olympic Games.
Yeah, so I think I had two mindsets. I have the mindset of me being a collegiate athlete, going into being a professional athlete in the Olympic Games, which that mindset was, I know I'm good enough, but ...
Mm-hmm.
So that's one mindset. The second one is, I've been in the game 8 years, 9 years. I done won a world championship, broke American record, and I'm here now. It was like, you better not mess up. Because if you mess up, it's your fault if you lose. I always thought it's nobody's fault if I lose. It's my fault because I never thought I was gonna lose. That's just how I thought. Now, did I lose? Yes, I lost. But I have never been in a race thinking I'm going to lose. I literally thought every time I stepped on the track, I will win. I will break a record every race, which I didn't, but that's how I thought. And if you mess up, if you lose, it's your fault. So that was that mentality as a vet. And then I had the collegiate mentality where like, what if, and but. So those are my two things.
So you had to balance those two mindsets under extreme pressure. Because y'all were the focal points. Y'all were the ones that when the camera spanned, they stopped at you.
Yeah, and the reason I love competing against someone like Melanie was because I always wanted to prove that I was the best. And I didn't want any shortcuts. I didn't want anybody, well, she had to eat. I didn't want none of that. So I wanted her at her best and me at my best so I can prove I was the best. So that's why I loved competing against her. And I didn't want to be her friend. I wanted to make her think I didn't like her, which I really didn't. I didn't feel that way towards her, but I wanted her to feel that I felt that way towards her. I was competitive, so I came to compete, and that's what it was.
Oh man, we need Melanie on here right now.
Tell her to get on here. What's up?
Tell her to get on here. Michelle, if you can, call Melanie and see where she's at. We got to get her on. Now, Deon, your competitors declined the invitation to come on for whatever reason. But you were running against two, at the time, American record holders from America. And then there was you. What was it like round one through? Because I think at that time it was 4 rounds, wasn't it? Or 3?
It was 3 rounds. The World Championships is 4 rounds. I think the Olympics is 3 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's reflection. Now I go back to when I started training. I go back to when I had to lie down on the track, a booty lock. I cry like nothing. I go back to nobody is better than I train. I give myself that edge. I train even harder than every one of you. So I don't see why you guys should come and beat me. And that's what I use when I go out there. I mean, I'm very nervous, but then I have all this positive vibes. I mean, everything is positive. I am better than them. I am going out there to give it 100%, especially when I come out that you better catch me if you can, because I'm gonna die on that finish line. And this is the tough mentality is to go in there. And I mean, you have to catch me if you can, but I'm not gonna let you beat me here today. Because I train hard, I train extremely hard, more than everybody else around me. You know, I give myself that edge. So it's positive and it propels me through.
And I think that's a critical component, is that if you don't prepare, and it sounds like Lashinda, you've prepared, and it sounds like Shamier, you've stepped up your training in preparation of the level of competition that you have. What is your mindset going into training? Because so many, and I love what everybody had to say. It's your training, it's my mindset. I want a piece of that action. But Lashinda said something that's very critical. I can't be the best unless I compete against the best. And then I can't compete against the best unless I've trained to be the best. What's your training mentality like, knowing that it's going to hurt? Because there are people in here who run the longer races, the shorter races. You know, it takes everything out of you in order to train at that level, but even to do the speed work, to do the strength work, to do the technical work. What is your mindset going in, knowing it's an Olympic year, knowing the level of competition?
My mindset going in is just that every little bit of training counts. Yeah, I know that this year I started paying attention to setting it up on the front end. I started paying attention to my warm up. You know how you go through the hurdles and hurdle mobility, and some people just swinging their leg over. No, I'm like, my arms are like this. I'm trying to like get every little bit and be conscious of all my little movements, because then it's going to translate into the next part of the warm up, and then it translates into running, and then it goes so forth when it's time to go over hurdles. Wait, somebody background.
Sonia Williams. Okay, thank you, Sonia. Okay, go ahead.
So I kind of just go in, just making sure I'm paying attention to all the small details, making sure I'm focused, because I mean, if I feel like I need to do that stuff at practice, so then when it comes time to do this stuff in the meet, it's not like it doesn't overwhelm me, because I feel like, okay, I've literally prepared for this from the time practice starts at noon and I'm starting my warm-up lap. So, you know, there's no way that.
Okay, Shamier, I'm gonna interrupt. Ready. So what you're saying is, my preparation starts the moment I start warming up.
Even before I start warming up.
Okay, talk to us then.
Before I start warming up, it's showing up to practice early. Is if my little hamstrings is tight, throwing some heat on my hamstrings, rolling out my muscles. I used to hop out the car and just walk sashay into practice and think, okay, I'm ready to start. And I'm like, no, I can't do that no more. So it's like getting mentally prepared, making sure I'm eating. It's like, this is my job. So, you know, all the preparation is so much more than what's going on for the few hours we're at practice. It's, you know, how I'm sleeping, how I'm eating, what I'm doing with my free time, what I'm watching, who I'm around, like everything that I'm consuming is kind of evolved, and it's kind of geared towards making sure that I'm able to compete to the best of my ability when it's time, especially when it's time to line up against, you know, Delilah, Sydney, Ashley, Corey, you know, all these ladies, like we coming together, and I know it's going to be fast, and I want to be prepared for that. So that's what I'm doing, is preparing myself for these matchups.
Excellent. Lashinda and Deon?
Well, I can say for me, and this is one of the things that I think was It probably killed the moment for me, but my preparation started as soon as you can add the world championships ended. And even if I won the Olympic silver medal, that's when my preparation started. I was already thinking about the next season, like that night. And I never lived in the moment. And literally, I don't appreciate that about myself, but I'm always looking to what's next. And when I came into the next season, and my mom was my coach and she was tough. So when I came into the next season, my mentality was like, okay, which means whatever she say do, I'm like, okay. So I would say, all right, the word is okay. She'll say
The
something, you
word
got
is okay.
this many hills, you got this many 500s over hurdles. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That's my word. And that was my preparation. I didn't care what it was. I didn't care how crazy it sound. Okay. And that was just what it was.
So you were locked in, all in.
I was locked in 365, baby. Locked in. I can't listen. I didn't take losing well. And I didn't even take winning well because I always thought somebody was coming for my head. I didn't even get to enjoy a win. I was always looking for what's next and I'm ready for whatever it is. And that's what it was. You know, I can look back now and say, you know what, you could have enjoyed breaking the American record. You could have enjoyed that for a week. But you know, that's just what the mentality was then. It was always what's next and okay.
All right, Deon.
Okay, for me, and all those who don't know, everybody, those who don't know now know that Bev Kearney was my coach.
I was hoping you would say that because you about to
And-
kill me about the training.
In 1993, I moved to be with Bev Kearney, Coach Bev. And we sat down, and I know she wrote a program for me straight up to 1996. And Bev, I don't forget it. We sat in the office, and she said, "What would you like? You know, what's your ambition? What would you like to accomplish out of this?" And I remember sitting in her office, and I told her I'd love to be the Olympic champion, but you know, at that point, you're just because you have to say something and you want to say the best. But I remember her writing my program from 1993 straight up to 1996. It might have been 97, 98, but I remember right up to that point. Up to now, Bev, I have some of that workout. And it was very detailed. And I tell you, she usually drill us, not me alone. Michelle Freeman is there. Michelle will tell you so. I mean, I remember, especially in 1996, when I was training and you had another group on the Donovan Bill, there was another group on the other side of the track. And they were laughing at me. I have a little tear coming down my eye because it's very emotional. And they were laughing at me because I said, boy, every time you see you going around the track, right? And I mean, I just laughed at them. And I knew exactly what I wanted. And Bev had the workout set out for me. And I must tell you all that it did work. I trained my butt off. I mean, I can't forget the booty locks. You know, you lie down and Bev, you had to finish the workout. But one of the things, though, she encouraged us as a group to do. It was a group of us, is to make sure you finish those workouts, because even if you have to jog the last one, because mentally that helped you to prepare. And that's what helped me in the finals when I'm running a race. You know, I remember those workouts and I always completed every one of them because she makes sure. And she makes sure, and she you know who you remind me of, Bev?
Who is that?
Frano Francis, MVP track club.
Yep, that's historical. Shelly Ann
Yes, man.
Frazier,
Shelly
that whole
I
group,
mean,
Melanie.
trust
Yes.
me. Oh, yes. Same type of mentality. We had to work out. I mean, I remember that 1996, Bev, when I was running so hard in workout, she said, calm down, man, calm down. You know, but she was there. She was there at all my workouts. I mean, the coach, you have to believe in your coach. You will not make it without your coach. You have to believe in your coach. and Lashinda touched on her mother. Whatever workout they give her, she just do it. The same thing because I believed in her, and that's the only reason why I made it through. Because my coach, I believed in my coach, and that's very important. You can't. I'm halfway there and say you're listening to somebody else or you're listening to that. No, it don't work like that. You have to believe in your coach, and that is the key to my success. I believed in her. And Bev, listen,
Yes.
1993, 1995, when I got the bronze medal, I know you was home laughing because I was supposed to come home and train and I did not come home. You remember that?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes, I remember.
I cried like a baby because I should not. Kim and Tanja broke the world record. I just ran 53.4. Come on, we have been working out together. We have been training since, we have been running since high school. There's no way I should have run that slow, but I knew what happened. I remember.
Did
And
that defeat propel you to elevate your game in 96 from 95?
as Lashinda said, I hate losing. It's when I lose, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole night, the race is, I'm reflecting on the race and I'm like, what did I do wrong? Of course, because there's no way they should have run 52 and I am running 53.5. No way. So I had to go home and I had to train and I had to listen to my coach because I knew the reason why in 1995 why I didn't, at least, I don't know if I would win, but I'd love to run 52, right? I ran 52 in the heat, the semifinals at the Olympics,
Melanie!
right? And I was so excited, 52.99, it was sweeter than the Olympic gold because I broke it, 53 seconds.
Wow. Melanie, cut your mic on because I got to introduce Melanie. Deon,
Hey,
powerful. I got to come back to that. Melanie.
Hi guys.
You guys, this is Melanie Walker.
Hey.
Hello.
This is the first time Lashinda and Melanie Walker have had a conversation since their heated battles. Lashinda said she thought you thought she hated her. She said a little bit she did, low key.
Low key.
Low key, a little bit of hatred because you're a competitor.
Yeah.
But Melanie is when I tell you, a phenomenal athlete, but an even better person. All of these young ladies, I hope you're finding beyond that competitive beast that they are just amazing human beings. And that's the key that I want. They are no different from you. But when that light comes on, some people will shriek from the light and some people will step into the light. And all of these ladies step into the light. Melanie, I know that you've suffered through a lot of injuries. And for everybody that doesn't know, Deon just told you I coached her all the way through. I coached Melanie in college before she went back home to Jamaica and took off like a rocket. But Melanie, Lashinda, I don't know if you know this, Melanie did not want to run the 400 hurdles.
I did not.
She
Not
wanted
at
to
all.
run the 100 hurdles. And I said, Melanie, you a JUCO. I got a year and a half to get you a contract. We are running the 400 hurdles.
True.
And that's how she stepped into the 400 hurdles. So if all of you athletes on here that don't like your event, this is a young lady that stepped into that event.
I had to even beg her mother. I had to beg her mother to tell Melanie to focus on what's working for her, which was the 400. Don't it, Melanie? I had to talk to her all the time. Melanie, you need to run the thing.
Oh God.
So Melanie, I have to ask you.
Yeah.
What was it like stepping on the track, knowing that Lashinda was on the other side? It was the Jamaican American battle. Because that's the way the whole meet went.
Yeah.
At the Olympic Games.
Well, all right, guys.
Come on, girl, bring it.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Shamier, I told you was going to enjoy this.
Yeah, it's a lot to say, but for one, knowing that everybody else that's doing the event actually love the event, or is in a frame of mind that this is what they want to do and get it over with. From ever since Bev, she trying to get me to, be ready for the event all the time. So by that time, like whenever I'm actually at a meet, is I don't care. I don't care for no one. I don't care who's on the track. Like it's me and my workout and my instructions. There's no way I can think about another athlete if I'm going to be ready to run. So if Bev says get out there and she says run the first 3 hurdles and do this and do that, that's what I'm going to be focusing on. I understand that there are competitors and I have an eye on everyone from lane 1 to lane 8, because sometimes as athletes, we only think it's just the people who are the main rivals that have a chance. But if they're in the finals, they got a chance. And half the time,
Shamier, you heard that?
Yes.
Yeah. Half the times I've seen where people, the ones in the middle, they focus on each other and they forget about everybody else. And then when they get all tired, somebody else take it. So I really like when I get in the race, I make sure that I kind of distribute everything, from the top to the bottom, who's in the middle, when I move, and I kind of focus on how to make sure that I do it at the right time. And usually when I go through races, sometimes I may lose a race, but if I know that I'm working on something, then it doesn't affect me because I know for the next time.
Okay, Melanie,
So for
hold
me,
up.
I'm
Did you guys hear that? Hold up, Melanie. Did y'all hear that? If I lose a race, instead of going down on myself, and I know that I've accomplished the thing that I was supposed to work on in that particular meet, then that doesn't become a negative. And then it sounds like even with Deon and Lashinda and Shamier, when I make a mistake in a race and it causes me to lose, I'm going to go back and self-evaluate and I won't make that same mistake twice. As opposed to, I can't do it, I lost, and just going down the rabbit's hole. So it sounds like none of y'all are doing that. Y'all are coming back saying, okay,
next
this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so for that, like, so when I'm in a race, we're usually ready. And for athletes who are true athletes, true rivals, we are always thinking about the next race. So I think I was on for a little bit when I heard Lashinda saying, once that race is over, it's the next race. I really don't have time. Like whatever the coach sees in that race, she will tell me what to do, because usually I don't watch my races over.
And Fento was your international coach.
Yes. So I usually, is like I listen to the coach and they tell me what to do next, and then I'll do that next. So half the times, like, if I go back and see the race and I feel like I did this wrong, and I make my own evaluations, and sometimes half the time it's not even right. So the coach is the person who tells me, this is where you go wrong, this is what you got to do, and then I'll try to fix that for the next race.
Got you.
Yeah.
So with that being in mind, and I know Deon, you mentioned it briefly already, but was there a race that you lost that totally changed your mindset and elevated it to the next level? Shamier, I think I know yours, so I'll let you start first, but I could be wrong. Because I remember seeing it and I was crying with you, but it's okay. Girl, you're going to be crying tears of joy soon.
I feel like I've had a lot of those, but my most recent one, the one in 2019, that was the one that changed everything. Because I felt like leading up to that, like I was hitting times, like my weight was down, like there was just so much I was just looking forward to. And then I got there and the race, like I just remember being in a race, like, why am I hurdling with my left leg and then back with my right? I'm like, what? Something is happening that I can't explain why it's happening. And then got the last hurdle, sucked all my energy out, and I just was like, what just happened? Like I was so disappointed, and I feel like, I mean, after every race, you have to scrape me up off the floor. And all I think is like, I never want to feel this way again. So of course, moving forward in the next race, I don't feel that way again, but now I feel another way again. And I think the race in 2019 at the trials, that made me like, I don't want to lose again. Like, I don't want to make the mistakes that I made were like, kind of like rookie mistakes or mistakes that I shouldn't be making at that level. And that like shifted my whole mindset. So it's like coming back to training in 2020, and even now I'm just thinking about the small mistakes that cost me being on a team, that cost me, a PR, a good time, a win. And I'm just like, I have to, that's like a fear. It's like, I have to face that fear in practice.
Lashinda, Deon, and Melanie, same question. Is there a particular race that totally flipped it for you?
All right. So Lashinda, you have to hear this one. So I think it was that year. It was what year did she came out? It was 2009 when
that's
she
the race I was gonna say. Go ahead.
She just came off the ice, whatever she was doing. Oh, she's back. And I'm like, all right, that's all right. Because, for me, it's like for 2008, when I went out there, I was like, all right, I never really give this event a chance. I am going to actually run this year. So when I decided to do that, I think I won every race that year, and then I won the Olympics. No, I didn't really race anyone that I wanted to race, like Lashinda or Yana Pittman. So I was like, boy, I don't know. But that was my goal. So I was like, all right, I'm done. I don't really want to do this again. But now that you won, you are the champion. So you have to come back proving that you're the champion again. And I'm like, why is this really happening? Guys, I struggle with this event. I'm telling you. So that year when Lashinda came back, I think we first met when we were in England at that Viva meet in Crystal Palace, I think, somewhere around that. Yeah. So it was our first race, and I was like, all right, okay, let's go. We're gonna do this. So we went out, and for me, I always try to work through the meets to kind of get to a perfection by the time I have to run at the Olympics or so. So we went there, and gun went off, and we went out, and it was a battle for a little bit, and then at the end, Lashinda came out the champion, and I was like, all right, it's good. But then Lashinda went over to the Jamaican crowd. She was like, what?
I don't remember that.
You guys, she's like, who else do you guys got? Because that's it. Like for me, no, that's how I felt. I was like, and she lifted her hands up, and she was celebrating and stuff, and I was like, so I was bent over, and I was tired, and then I turned and I looked at her, and I thought that, like for some reason, like something came up, like some fire started burning, because she was like, okay, I defeated her, like who else do you guys got? Like, come on.
You saying that's what her mind was telling her?
Oh, yeah,
That's good. That's good.
You didn't do all of that.
I love that.
They don't play
your
like
mind be
that.
playing tricks on you,
Of course, because she's trying to build up her momentum, just to go for Lashinda. I understand that.
So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, this girl did not. Like in my mind. So for some reason, I was just going through the motion, girl. But you changed it. Like that was it. And then I was like, all right, Melanie, let's go. I'm going to show this girl that I'm ready and that I can really run this event. And I'm going to run it now. So everything changed, like, going into practice, all I have to do, like I was focused 120%, so doing all I had to do, my exercises and stuff. And I was like, we about to race, whenever it is, again, we about to race. And I didn't think we met again since then. And I think at Monaco, did we met at Monaco?
Yeah, that's when, yeah, I had another good race, but you was the one on top that
Yeah,
year.
girl. I was ready for that race. And I was like, if I won,
I
I was
love
like,
that.
if I won at Monaco, then I'm sorry, girl. That's it. Because that last race is kind of a race that I use to kind of gear what position I'm going to be in for the Olympics. If I'm ready, then I don't have a lot of work to do for the Olympics. But if I'm not ready, then I know I'm gonna have a lot to kind of work on to kind of get ready for then. But girl, after Monaco, I was like, I think that's it. That's it, girl.
All right, Lashinda.
So, but look, in Monaco, first of all, disclaimer, I don't remember doing that in Crystal Palace.
I know you might.
I was petty. I was petty LaBelle, but I don't remember doing that. But in Monaco, though, I ran well, but either way, the race that changed mine was when she won world championships. So mind you, that was the same year. I had been undefeated that whole year until world championships.
Right.
And she came and ran 52.3. And I was like, because now in Monaco, I ran 52.6, and that was my first time ever running under 53 seconds. So it was like really big for me. And that was off of the twins and everything. So I was like, I can't believe this is happening type of thing. But that race, I messed up. Like I went into the race, I already had a plan. The way I run is I have a race strategy. I don't change it. I just perfect it the whole way. So I know exactly what I'm doing the first day I step on the track. So I knew what I was supposed to do, but I got so caught up in the moment because we were coming off the last turn battling. We're side by side, and I let the race get to me, which typically I stay in my lane and I do what I got to do. But that day, I'm like, forget that. I'm gonna do this in the middle of it. That girl said, "Oh, that's what you gonna do? Okay."
Yeah,
so you ran. Let me tell you what you did. So she won, crossed that line. That girl did the dirty wind on me.
What?
She looked in the camera and did that.
Oh my no!
I remember that clearly.
That move was at the Olympics when in the.
Well, you did it 2 times. Okay, maybe you did the flip of the wrist with your finger or something.
You
girl. Did something.
I don't remember that, but if I did somewhere, I don't remember. But
either way, you're supposed to do something. You won, but that's the race where I was like, "Oh, I will never lose a race by messing up. If I lose, it's gonna be like you're gonna have to shoot both legs, shoot both arms, and I'm crawling to the line." And that was that race where I was like, "I will never lose a race by messing up. If I lose, I lose, but it won't be by messing up." And that was that race.
And that's what Shamier said. I don't want to lose another race because I messed up.
That was my thing. That was the race that did that for me.
Because you just give the whole race away. And that's all you thinking, like, just everything just falls down on you. Like, just go through your whole decision-making process and where everything went wrong. You're like, I never want to feel that way again. I mean, never.
Yeah. And that's the one of the reasons why I was saying, like, when I go through the meets, I kind of get in that frame of mind that when it comes down to battling an athlete, at that point, you don't focus none at all on the athlete. You kind of make sure that you stay in your zone and focus on what you need to do, because only that is going to give you that edge that you need to do. Because normally what we would do is mess up by trying to run somebody else's race. But as long as you can hold it and do what you're supposed to do, then usually you're the one that comes out on top.
Right.
And I want to give validation to that because Chantel Malone is on here. And one of the things that, Chantel, I don't know if you can show your picture, but one of the things that she just talked about when I recently saw her was the fact that she always focused on other jumpers and not herself. And as a result, she always underjumped. And you just jumped what, Chantel?
7:10.
7:10. And her average before that was in the 60s, 70s, occasional 80s. But just really honing in on what your capabilities are makes a difference. So with that in mind, I have a question for the panel, and I'll start with you, Deon. Doubt always comes up. Somehow athletes look at each other and feel like nobody ever doubts themselves. When that doubt comes up, has it come up? And when it does, what do you do? What would you advise others to do?
Okay. You're talking like doubts when you're running and
Like when you get ready
you
to
feel
for
like you're
that
not
big
ready.
race, you're saying, I
Wh-
can't do this. They've done
Okay,
this, and
okay. I
poof,
think
poof,
it's
the bubble guts.
at first, when I just started, I had a lot of doubts because I was running with somebody. When you just started, you're running with the top athletes. But after you get matured and seasoned, then you start being very positive. You tell yourself, you try to, you have to try and tell yourself give yourself all positive thoughts because the negative will throw you off. And something I've learned early while I'm running is that once you tell your mind, tell your body it cannot do it, it will not do it. Right? So you need to go ahead. You need to be very positive. I mean, in the latter part of running, sometimes I was a bit negative, but when I'm going in the blocks and I tell myself, Deon, you can do it. You have trained too hard. These are the things that I say all the time to myself so that I'll be able to make it. Anytime you have any form of negative thought, your mind react, I can't do it because these girls are better than me. Oh yes, your body going to react to it. So you have to be positive at all time. And you have to remember to be positive. Because I know there are two types of nervousness. There's the controllable nervousness and the uncontrollable. The uncontrollable nervousness is when you go out there and you block out. You totally don't know what to do in the race. That's because you can't control yourself. You need to be able, and these are how this is how you have to have positive thoughts again. Positive thoughts. I can do this. I train too hard for this. These are the things you have to say to yourself to be able to move forward and do well.
Good. Shamier?
Wait, what's the question again? Oh, how do you like combat
How do you
doubt?
deal with any of the counter the doubts that come up or the little bubble guts that come up? Because what people don't realize, everybody gets bubble guts.
Everybody.
It's how you manage them that makes the difference in your performance. Well, Lashinda may not, but I'm gonna ask her in a minute.
No, I do. And like I said, don't let me forget. Go ahead, Shamier.
Combating those doubts. It's kind of like I always, when I start getting the doubts or I start getting like restless or nervous, it's always kind of more so about redirecting my attention to what I have been doing and how I have prepared for it. Because most of the doubts is arising from something that happened 2 days ago. Like, oh, I ate this, I ate bad. Like it's gonna creep up. It's gonna lock me up in the hurdle. But it's like, okay, I ate the fries, but I have been putting in the work consistently and training harder than I've ever trained in my life in the past months leading up to those 2 days. So it's kind of like, I like just knowing what I'm capable of. I'm always kind of reminding myself of that. It's like, okay, and as I'm competing this year, it's like it's adding more to my confidence. So when the doubts start coming, it's like snap back. Okay, you just ran 49 flat. You competing amongst this, not even your primary event. You competing with these people. I just added the 800.
Can we recognize that she just said she ran 49 flat, and that's not even her main event? Oh, can we like give can everybody give her a thumbs up or clap, whatever you want to do? Because that's a boss move right there. That's boss move right there.
Wow.
Did that, girl.
Just thinking about those. I just added the 800. Like 2 years ago, you couldn't pay me to warm up for 800 meters in the warm-up lap. And now I'm moving through it. I just set a PR and I'm like, that's just adding more. So whatever doubts I know that I'm going to have, I'm able to combat them with what I've been doing this year. Like I have been putting in the work. Like I'm constantly reminding myself, like you are putting in the work. I'm working harder than anybody that I know. And these little doubts, they're nothing. So it's just redirecting my attention to what I've been doing.
Okay. Lashinda?
Yeah, so number one, if I was nervous in a race, it was never about another competitor. It was always about what if I mess up? That's number one. Number two, after going through races where you were prepared and failed, that was something that I struggled with year after year. So I came out of college in 2004, made the Olympic team, hit the last hurdle when I was leading, and barely made the team that year, then went on to the Olympic Games that year, didn't even make the finals, and then go to 2005 where they say she's going to win, get second. And you know what I mean? So it was a lot of years of that caused doubt. So even when Melanie won the world championship, when I was favored to win, that was piled on top of that. So having those type of experiences created a lot of doubt for me. So 2010 was an off year, but in 2011, when I won the world championships, I had a lot of doubt because I'm like, I'm getting older. My time is running out of accomplishing what I had in my bucket list of track. And so what I did was every doubt that I had at that time, I would find a Bible verse or just a quote that would defeat that doubt. And I kept the cards in my track bag. And anytime I had, because it came, you would be surprised how many times that doubt runs through your head in one day. So anytime it came up in practice, I'll pull out the card and I'll read it. I'll pull out whatever it was. So one card was doubt, one card was I can't remember, trust, and one card which had like the quote that would, defeat that doubt that I had. And I would pull it out, I would read it. It would clear my mind real quick. I'm talking about I'm going to the line and that comes and I look at the card real quick and go back, read it, get on the line and go for the next rep. So, and then it got to a point where I remembered it. That I can't tell people how much that helped me. It helped me where I'm on the starting line where they're saying on your mark and something would fly through my head real quick and I had something to combat it real quick and it was out that fast. I did that whole year and that's when I, won the worlds and broke the American record. But that's what I did to defeat my doubt. And I would tell any and everybody, it doesn't have to be a Bible verse. It could be something in the Quran. It could just be a quote from Maya Angelou. It does not matter. You need something to replace the doubt that you're speaking in your head. And you reinforce it with, like she said, positive. But I needed more than just be positive, Lashinda. No. I'm an athlete. I need to be coached. I need to train how I want to think. Like everything I do is similar to how I trained as an athlete. So I needed something that I could practice daily. And that was something that I did. And it helped me so much. So that's what I did.
And I think the one thing, and I'll come back to you, Melanie, the one thing that you said that was extremely powerful is a lot of times we expect an outside person to talk us out of our fears when we do nothing. The fear begins internally. So the person inside you has to be the one to counter it, meaning that you've got to have your own go-to thing to pull yourself out of it. Now, occasionally a coach can come in if you can't pull yourself out and pull you out of it. But if they become your confidence, the one thing I always tell coaches, because coaches be trying to take that spot, and I always tell athletes is you get on the line alone. And as Lashinda said, is that it could be on the moment in the line when it hits. Go ahead, Dr. Shaw, and I'll let Melanie go.
I just want to say, I so appreciate what the athletes are sharing, Coach Kearney, because the reality is there's always going to be that little critic in the back of our mind. I call it the mind bully, that little monster. And to think that that monster is going to go away completely at any given time, it may present itself. And what Lashinda said is so absolute correct. You have to have something to combat that monster that comes up, that you can just obliterate it and then refocus your attention on the job that has to be done. I so love what the women are sharing tonight.
Awesome. Melanie.
Okay. For me, as you say, doubts. So I didn't have too many losses doing the 400 hurdles when I just started it. Like for me, I was kind of spoiled. So coming from the sprint, I was the best. I came in the 400 hurdles, I became the best. When I started to compete like with the world, I learned that I had other competitors. But at the end of the day, when doubt comes to mind for me, I eat it. Like
You eat it.
I eat it and I start cussing. Like I get, like a bully, as she just says, you bully that weak side of you that tells you that you can't do something. So I'll be like, bitch, what? In my head. Are you crazy? That make no sense, and I'll just go like in my own mind, you won't
You
recognize
bullied the
it.
bully, huh?
Yeah, I bully, I just turn on it and I eat it up like crazy in my head. And I usually repeat to myself, like, I'm the best, I'm the
Mhm.
best, I'm the
Mhm.
best all the
Yeah.
time. It's just something that I say
Yeah.
unconsciously, like I would just do it the whole time. And so I kind of, before it even comes, I already kind of get rid of it. So while I say that, my mind is occupied thinking about how good I am. Then, worse when you're waiting to go into your final race. That's when all kind of things trying to come
Yep.
up. You're waiting for them to make that last call, and you're sitting there. You can't wait to get on the track. All of that. But for me, I mostly kind of get this way. I'm not out on the track. If I'm in my hotel room, that's when I would probably, somehow get a little bit of that. And then how I would get distracted from that is to do stuff, play games, figure out who to hang out with. I just always want to be in a spot where it's always lively and fun. So I distract myself from thinking about anything. And the only other opening I may have when it can come in is when I'm going to bed. That's that part when you close your eyes and then all of a sudden all kind of race and all kind of thing want to come up. And then by then I'm like, I'm asleep, you know. So
I
so
love it.
so
I
there
love all of you guys.
so it's a strategy, like you have to figure it out. But another thing with me, like once I get up to go and compete, once I put my uniform on, I won't have any more doubts. I'm ready to run. Like totally. So all of the doubts will come and all of the thinking will come and all of what I will experience is when I'm not out there. Because there's two different type of athletes. You have some athlete who would stress before their races, but then when they put their clothes on, they're ready to compete. And then you have some who won't stress. They're fine when they're in the hotel room, but once they put their uniform on, now they're nervous. And and you have to figure out what type are you so that you can so you have to figure out what type are you so that you learn how to figure out, what to do if you're that type of athlete. So I'm always ready. Once my uniform is on, I'm always ready, and I'm just ready to compete. And then there won't be any room for doubts to come in. And then by the time I put my uniform on, I start singing I'm the best in my head. So by then all I'm ready to do is compete. I have no more fear after I put my uniform on. But
Okay.
after that, it will come in when I'm at the hotel or I'm trying to eat, I can't eat and all that stuff. That's when I go through it, but not when I put my uniform on.
Okay. Excellent. 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 So coaches and athletes, one of the things that was really critical is knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like Deon and Melanie both are Olympic champions, but they're two totally different people. Melanie likes lively. Deon is real settled. You got to know what environment best fits you. And then coaches, allow the athletes to be comfortable in their own space. Not everybody, I've watched Lashinda warm up, I've watched Shamier warm up, and they both have totally different mindsets going in, but they are allowed to be who they are. And you've got to find out who you are and what's the best way for you to warm up. Because you have certain athletes that like to talk and certain athletes that want to tell you to shut up. Which ones are you guys?
No, I'm not about the talking at all. I'm quiet. By the time I have my uniform on, any kind of talking and all that, I just want to relax. Every movement is my energy. So I have to save my energy. So I really don't have the
So
time.
you guys hear
Warm-
that? Every movement, every outside activity draws energy away from your focus.
Yeah. Only want to spend that time warming up and getting prepared, thinking about what I need to do and all of that. No kind of activity, nothing. I can't take the talk in. I'm sorry.
Lashinda, Deon, Shamier.
I'm a talker in my group. So I'm talking to my coach. I'm talking to a training partner. Outside, they see my face. They wouldn't even try to talk to me. I already know. I know what face I put on. So I'll talk to my mom. I'll talk to them. Other than that, I'm in the zone, and that's just how I've been. And another thing, you wouldn't, and then another thing, my college coach always, he used to say, I know that you're ready to go when I see you smiling. So if I would feel a little nervousness, I smile more, because you're not about to think I'm nervous. So I smile. He said, oh, I see you smiling. You ready to go, huh? I was like, what you talking about? He said, yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, that's what it is. So I'm either smiling, I'm quiet, I'm talking to my coach. So that's what it was. So I guess I'm not a talker, especially to competitors.
Well, for me, I internalize. I don't talk at all. I'm in my zone. I'm very focused, being very positive. All my thoughts at that point is very positive. As Melanie say, most you have negative thoughts well, not Melanie. Melanie don't have negative thoughts, but sometimes you have negative thoughts that come to you. So any distraction for me may throw me off. So I prefer to stay quiet. I mean, normally the persons who are close to your coach or, other athletes that you're close to, you'll speak with them. But apart from that, I am focused. I'm in my zone, and I'm just staying positive and getting ready to go.
All right.
Getting ready for war.
Y'all heard that, right? It's war out there. So you preparing with that mindset.
Oh, yes.
Like, it's going to be a fight and I ain't going down.
Oh, no, I ain't going down. And especially when I have my main competitors in there. Oh, yes, I am hyped. Because I know I'm ready
and if you saw Deon, you would never know she was hyped.
Right.
Her hype looked like this. Deon, you all right? Coach, I'm okay. Shamier?
I am a talker.
You look like a talker, Shamier. I was gonna see if you was gonna tell the truth for yourself. You look like you be talking over there.
I like to talk, but then I know that sometimes.
Do Coach Johnson be telling you to shut up?
Huh?
Do Coach Johnson be telling you to shut up?
He told us at practice, he told us to shut up one time. And I think since then, I'm never trying to get too chatty at practice. He damn, they your coach or something. He'll shut us up real fast. And it's okay, it's okay to talk, but it comes a point where the talking takes away from what you're supposed to be doing in that present moment. Like, you sitting here talking and you going through the warm-up or whatever, and just kind of however. So I know, but then there's times where if I'm not talking, it's like a deathly silent, it's kind of nervous, and it kind of is not who I am. I'm just kind of stone-faced. So I think Coach Johnson has gotten really good about kind of making sure that I'm focused and not talking, but making sure that, hey, talking, keeping me light. So I'm not sitting here, overthinking everything and all stiff. We cracked some jokes. I think, that was kind of the bounce back after in comparison when I ran in 2019 at the trials. I was not talking at all. And then we come back, a couple of weeks later at the Diamond League final in Zurich. And I just remember Coach Johnson was just that's my dog. He just was just keeping me kind of present. So I find the happy medium, but for the most part, I don't like to talk because I need them calories. I need all that energy. I can't be giving it, like Melanie said, I can't be giving that to nothing else but what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Excellent. If you guys, before we go into the questions, see if anyone has any questions. what takeaways would you guys give now, looking back, knowing what you've accomplished, knowing, in Shamier, in your case, what you have yet to come? What advice would you have liked to have heard at some point in your career that you know now that you would like to share? I'm gonna tell one story on Melanie. Melanie was the 400 hurdler, and we lost Marsha Verhooker in the 4x1. And I went to Melanie. I said, Melanie, you're gonna run anchor at nationals on the 4x1. She went through the whole roster trying to convince me that everybody was better than her on the anchor. We get to the final. Even the commentators are saying, Coach basically lost her mind. She done put a 400 anchor meter runner on the anchor of the 4x1 at the national championship. People forget Melanie was 100, 200 sprinter and was splitting faster in practices than all my sprinters. But Melanie did not want to run that anchor. And I finally told her, and this is what I'll tell everyone here. And it sounds like every athlete here has taken that moment. Lashinda has won gold and silver. Deon won gold. Melanie has won gold. Shamier has won, but she hasn't won the one she wanted. But every person gets that moment, that opportunity that defines who you are. Step into that moment. Don't fear it. Don't walk away from it. Either you'll make the moment or the moment will make you. And all of these athletes have stepped into that moment. So with that being said, I want to allow them to share with you the wisdom or the knowledge that they've acquired that they would like to pass on to you. Who wants to go first?
Go. I noticed that I was good my whole life for the most part. And like I said, one of my major regrets is not living in the moment for races. You know, I've had a ton of great races that I've never even stopped to just enjoy. So that would be one thing, like take what you're doing and actually realize that you're doing something good. Like you're really doing something good. Like even in high school, I was the first one to go under 40 seconds and it was a so what for me because I was already looking at the competition in college. So I really hate that I never embraced anything that I did until like now. That's one thing. So, and another thing would be just take care of your body. The races will be there, especially if you take your career and your competition serious. Take care of your body. Listen to your body. I've ran through too many injuries, and that's what took me out eventually in the end. And that led me to not like leaving how I wanted to. So understand what you're putting your body through. Understand that your body does talk to you, and you have to listen, especially if you want a long career. And those are the two major things that I would say, especially for athletes of this caliber that we have here. We train and compete for years to accomplish a handful of things, that 0.00 of whatever people in the world is trying to do, and we get there. Take care of your body and embrace the moments that you get in this journey. And that's what I would say.
Powerful.
That's good.
Ladies?
Well, I mean, those are really good points Lashinda mentioned. It's true that when we compete, and because we're such powerful competitors, we always think about the next thing and the next thing, because that's what really keeps us going. And we really don't take time to enjoy our accomplishments, and even after a while, like I don't even know. Like if I can remember for a while, like every time when I go to meets, if I get a medal or whatever, I wouldn't even be the one to go and get it. I was like, can you go get that for me or whatever? Or and after I get it, I would probably give it to my dad or my mom, and they would put it up. And sometimes when I actually see everything, I was like, was all of that mine? And I realized I didn't even, you know, get like put myself in that position to kind of feel what I've done. And that is one thing, like as you go along and you're competing and you're enjoying the different parts of the world, like all of that, I still look back and I was like, oh, I was in Zurich and I was here and I was there. I didn't even do anything. You just pass through these places, and then you think about all the stuff that you could have done, to kind of, you know, get some memory, not just from races, but, life memories that you could have taken with you and share with others. You really don't have that because you didn't realize that all that was going to pass. So try and enjoy all your journeys, your life endeavors, and the stuff that you accomplish. Try and enjoy that. As she said, Lashinda says, taking care of your body listens to your body, because if you don't, half the times we keep pushing and we keep pushing and we don't realize that we're hurting ourselves until we're actually out. And eating right, doing all that necessary stuff. What else could I say? That I well there's not much that you can say when you're competing and going out there to compete and doing all the stuff that you need to do. But those are good points of kind of enjoying what you do, taking care of yourself and share with all your friends and family. Because after a while, you realize that you're going to be just there. And all that people that you had around you, they're not there anymore. So you want to have memories and you want to be able to, remember all that stuff at some point in time.
Excellent. Deon?
Yeah, realize that track and field don't last forever. It's for a time. And Melanie and Lashinda covered most of it, that we should, every moment we should enjoy. I was more, it was more business for me.
Mhm.
I went to the world championships. I went all over the world. And I can't recall going to, tour the cities and stuff. I've never done that. Um, Most of the trophies I get, like at Zurich and all those smaller meets, I don't know where they are because I can't carry them in my bag because they charge us and stuff like that. Sometimes we leave them in the hotel. Um, you know, there are a lot of things that every race, every win, you know, every accomplishment, you need to enjoy it. Because in the end you realize that it's gonna go, you move on to another life, you move on to something else, your family and stuff. So
Deon, I
take
have a
care.
question for you.
Mhm,
What country, because I think I remember this and I could be wrong.
mhm.
You were one of the first athletes in one of the, I think, Muslim countries that didn't allow women to walk in the street uncovered.
Qatar.
Qatar. You guys were one of the first, and I remember them shooting a picture of you, which was an oddity in Qatar at the time, for a woman to walk the streets uncovered.
It was the first year when they had that Grand Prix meet, and IAF back then, World, what they call, what IAF, the new name anyway. It was IAF then. They did not allow, they would not acknowledge the meet because there were no women. And we were the first group, and we ran in long tights and t-shirts.
Are you serious? You guys
And
come a
there were
long
no
way.
female bathrooms. There were no female bathrooms, and they're all in the stadium. You only see men in the stadium, no female bathrooms. You
And
went in the
were there
mailbox.
women in the audience?
There's no woman, none at all. But I think that they've opened up the meet now, so it's much better. It got better. But we were the first group.
What year was that? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Me either, but it was fairly recent that this happened. I just wanted to acknowledge some history in here in terms of what Deon and them have done and open the pathways for everyone. Shamier, we got to finish with the baby.
Kind of. The ladies that spoke, they were like, felt like they didn't live in the moment. I kind of felt like I was living in the moment. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm about to go out and celebrate. But I feel like kind of advice I would give, kind of make the sacrifice and do what's asked of you. It's going to pay off. So find the happy balance between living in the moment and also making the sacrifice so that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish, and it's going to pay off. And you make that time to treat yourself or live in the moment, whether you save it for the end of the race or the end of the season. Just like make the sacrifices, because there's so many times I passed up on the sacrifice because I want to go do this and hang out with these people and have this fun, and it kind of comes back on me on the back end. So yeah, that's the advice that I would give.
Exceptional advice from everybody. I hope that everybody has enjoyed this Zoom call as much as I have. And, you know, just hearing the truth of two competitors, and that how people compete today isn't how people competed in the old days. Like
that.
people were literally calling each other out and mean mugging each other at the track meets. And there would even be times when there were fist fights at the track meet. That's that competitive energy that used to exist. So when you guys are talking about this competitive atmosphere that you're in, just remember that it's evolved to an even politer state, although it still exists. And at that time, it was almost head to head and pretty much vocal. They weren't talking and making eye contact with anybody. In fact, coaches used to be in the back timing each other's athletes during the warm-up, is how bad it used to be in the old days. And Lashinda and Melanie, thank you guys for coming on and being so open and honest about your battle. Deon.
Say something?
Yes.
Melanie, I want to say that it was an honor to compete against you. I've never disliked you. It was putting on a show. You were a competitor. I loved competing against you. Anytime you whipped my butt, I gave props behind closed doors, but I did. And I love you so much. It was great competing against you. And Miss Deon didn't say, but she has called me a few times during my competing days and have gave me pointers, have encouraged me, and I appreciate you for that as well. So thank you very much. And Shamier, you have reached out to me before. You are the bomb. You're dope. I already know what's in your future. I wish you nothing but success and the best, and I can't wait to see you do your thing. That's all I want to say. Okay.
Closing words from
Thanks,
anybody,
guys.
you guys?
Repeat that, babe. What you say?
I say any closing that you guys want to say?
Well, I'm just excited that at the end of the day, I had a competitor who, you know, kind of helped me to get to the level that I wanted to be. You know, because sometimes we take for granted life and stuff that we are supposed to accomplish in life. So when you have someone that could pull that out, and even you, Coach Bev, you know, had to kind of, you know, give me pointers and let me know what is important and what I need to do, you know, in order to get to the next level in my life. Deon, we have spoken a couple of times. I know sometimes I remember when you asked me about my event one time, but I tell you, I hated it. You started crying and I didn't know what was wrong with you, but because it's an event that you love and you can't believe how someone could just be so good at it and not like it. And I understand where you're coming from. But even though I didn't like it, I was able to, you know, put myself in the position of any other athlete who was doing it and do it to the best of my ability. So I'm glad that I was able to do that and compete and meet great athletes. You know, Lashinda, I've seen you over the years, and I know running 400 hurdles, I was like, oh, this is her event. At some point in time, I'm like, I'm not a 400 hurdler, so it doesn't matter to me. But after a while, I started thinking, we're competitors, and it's best that we go out there. And I always think, oh, you always have this mean face, but I still know at the end of the day, after that meet, you remember when we were in Daegu when we won the race, and you was like, and I was like, good job, and you was saying thank you, because you also recognize that an athlete helps to get the best out of you, and you appreciated that. And that's when I knew everything was good between us. And I'm just glad that I was able to experience all of that. And it's all good. Love y'all guys.
Lashinda, I watched you run, and I think you were the greatest until Melanie came along.
It crushed me.
Yeah, but it's a part of life. You guys remind me of me and Kim Batten. Don't it,
Yeah.
Beth?
Okay.
Yes, the same war. We fight that war. It remind me of that. Melanie, I must tell you that the day you beat me was the day I retired. I decided I was gonna retire. There's no way. You
I
know that.
remember that. Oh my
Yes, the
God.
day you beat me, I think it was Barbados. I decided that no, it's time to go,
Yeah.
man.
It's
There's
time
no
to
way.
go, huh?
Time to go. There's
That
no
was
way I could stay
crazy.
any longer. Yeah.
No.
I had one of
Hey,
those
Lashinda,
races.
she
Like,
said,
when you get so
the
good.
day Melanie beat me, it was time to retire. It's time to go.
Time to go. Time to go. I knew the day was coming. And I knew I was almost prepared for it. So when that day comes, hey, it's time for Shamier, I'm watching you, praying for you, and I know you can do it. I mean,
Yeah.
49 in the 400.
That's
You set yourself up there. I can see good things coming out of you. So just be
It's
positive
one.
and go for it. I
yeah.
mean,
I
the
will.
times
I
they're
will.
running
Somebody's
now,
got to run
I mean,
51 in them hurdles.
She already said
it
she
was
did it
really,
in that race right there. Jesus.
it was really nice. Bev,
Yes, my love.
well, I don't know if I could make it without you.
Love
The
you guys.
Olympics was very special. I remember when the two of us was on the track alone. You remember that in
Yeah.
1996? I mean, you have brought me to a place I don't think anybody else could have done that. I mean, sometimes I never like you because of all that workout, the 400 hurdle workout was
I
so
know.
hard.
I know. I
And
know.
Okay, Melanie.
going to training in the days, you worry because you don't know what is gonna come, but you do the workout and you lie down on the track and you dive, you cry for about 10, 15 minutes and you get up
Mhm.
back and go again. But you made me very tough, and
Mhm.
without you, I would not have won that Olympic gold. So appreciate it. And this is a good forum you have here, and you
Mhm.
can invite me anytime. I'll be
Oh,
fearless.
excellent.
Thank you so
Nice.
much.
Shamier, baby girl, you want to send us out? Is Gwendolyn? I don't know if Gwendolyn made it on. She usually does our finish.
Thank you. Like now, after seeing y'all talk about rivalries and the competition, I'm like trying to go back and watch videos and catching little slick little stuff that was
You
done.
gonna catch
And
it.
then let's slick stuff, huh, Shamir?
Not so
You getting
slick,
all crunk.
afraid. But
Yeah.
thank you. Like you guys are paved the way. Like I'm so glad that our event is getting the shine. Another era is getting the shine, and yeah, I hope I make myself proud, make y'all proud, do what
Oh,
I'm
nice.
supposed to do. Thank you guys.
Go and give it to 110%, and you'll be fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
Do
will.
your
I
thing and
will.
You're
focus on
doing
your
it
game.
already, girl.
Yep, yep, yep. Keep on
And
doing
this
what
is
you're
what
doing.
this is what this journey is about. It's about celebrating each other's greatness and
Yeah.
sharing the journey of greatness to inspire everyone on this call, no matter what it is you're doing in life, to embrace the moment. Because what these ladies have told you is you don't get this back. Don't waste it in fear because you'll live with a regret. If you've noticed, none of them, although they had pitfalls where they lost important critical races, not races, They pull themselves up and work every day just to be better. No regrets. Live your life to the best of its ability in the moment, and you'll lessen and eliminate that word regret. Because I've never heard anyone on this panel say that the whole time. They have no regrets about the losses because the losses became their lesson and their lessons became their blessings.
Yeah.
So bless yourself by adhering to the pathways of the path builders. Melanie, phenomenal. Lashinda Demas, phenomenal. Deon Hemmings, the pioneer of phenomenals. And then the baby of phenomenals in Shamier Little. Thank you guys for sharing from your heart and from your journeys.
Thank you guys.
God bless.
Thank you.
And next week we should have Alan Johnson and Grant Holloway and a couple of other people. I'm gonna keep them a secret because I'm trying to seal them up. But it's gonna be a great show next week. We're gonna have our show all the way through the first week of June, and then we'll take a break until September. But you guys, I hope you continue to tune in and pass the word on about tuning in. Phenomenal cast. Thank you guys so very much. I feel so blessed to have.
Thank
I
you.
love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Lashinda, are
Yes,
you still in LA? It's Tracy Shaw.
I'm in LA.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get your number through Bev. I'd like to connect with you. We
Sure.
traveled together with USA Track and Field, and we had the same hairdresser in Carson, if you remember.
Duran?
Yes,
You know, I came up with him. I've known him since I was 14.
I know, years ago. I know.
And Deon and Melaine, I have to say thank you guys just for
Get the
being
number
you
from
and
Beth.
for allowing
Okay,
me
I
to
will.
coach you guys. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Bye-bye.
Thank
It
you,
was
Bev. I appreciate
wonderful,
you. Thank you so much.
Lashinda, I love you
You're the
dearly.
greatest. Yes.
Melaine, God bless. Bye, everybody.
God bless
Bye-bye.
you all. Bye, girl. Bye, y'all.
Maya, click us off.